Hey, welcome to another episode of Q&A with Jay. On a previous episode, I answered the question, is it okay to end a client relationship? And the answer is yes. That's the short answer. The longer answer is on the other video. But on today, I want to answer the question, how do you end a client relationship? Because how you do it is really, really important. Now, this seems kind of crazy for some of you because you've never ended a client relationship. You figure as long as they're still paying you, they're going to still be a client. Ultimately, that's not a great way to build a business over time. You have to work with the right people, and the right people have to work with you. You can't just work with everybody anywhere all the time, and sometimes you are the one that has to end that client relationship. I've had many times in business, thankfully not all the time, but I have had many times in 20 years where there have been scenarios where I have to end the client relationship for the good of my own self, my own sanity, and for the good of my team. And so let me tell you some tips on how you should end a client relationship. Number one, never burn bridges. Now look, if you're dealing with somebody who's a very difficult personality, this can be really hard because it can feel like you're going to regardless, but there is no reason for you to come in as the hard negative one. It is simply, hey, you know what? I don't think we're a great fit. And whatever you owe them, whatever you need to give them, whatever you've promised them, you should deliver those things. Even if they're not giving you all the money that they need to, deliver what you said you would do. Don't burn those bridges and then walk away peacefully. Some people are going to get agitated by that. I had a guy one time who's like, so wait, you're telling me that you're not going to take my money? And I'm like, yes, that's exactly what I'm telling you. Because at some point, there comes a time where you have to end that relationship. So number one, don't burn bridges. Number two, make sure that you've covered your bases. Make sure that you're doing the things that you said that you would do. You don't want to end up in a legal conflict of any sort. And so if you have a lawyer that you want to consult with, that's not always and that's never a bad idea. Just kind of go, hey, here's the contract. I want to end this relationship. What does that look like? You need termination clauses for yourself in your client relationships as much as the client needs termination clauses for themselves. So a lot of times when you're writing a contract, you're thinking, well, what if the client cancels this? What happens? Do they have to pay? Are they allowed to cancel? What are those things? But you also need to be thinking about in your own contracts, if you want to cancel that relationship, how do you get out of it? Because you want to make sure that you're doing everything legally as well. So don't burn bridges. Make sure that you're handling everything legally and above board. And ultimately, don't stress about it. At some point, you got to walk away. I promise you, when you get rid of the clients who are not a good fit for you and you go find the right ones, there can be great value there. But one thing that's really important in this, before you let a client go, it's the same thing as before you let a team member go. I want you to really ask the question, is it them? Or is it me? And on another episode, I'm going to talk a little bit about personality profiles and how that can affect if it's really a problem or if it's something you might be able to work out or learn from. So until then, leave some comments in the messages here about this video with any questions you have or maybe situations you've dealt with or something you're dealing with now. I'd love to come alongside you and help answer those questions. I'll see you soon.